What's up, PokerBEASTs? Kato here, and today we're playing cards. Don't forget, we have the comeback tour coming at the beginning of next month. Let's hit the film. Welcome back, PokerBEASTs. I'm doing a $300 buy-in today at the 1-3 game. I'm going to try to quickly jump into the 2-5. There are no seats available, so I'm biding my time. I look down, the very first hand I play is pocket jacks. I'm in the low jack, $300 on my stack, and the undercome player decides to limp. The middle position player bumps it up to $15. The other middle position player makes the call. I'm not going to stand for this. I'm putting in a 3-bet. The question is how much. I decide $60 is the perfect amount, so I bump it up, make it $60. $97 in the pot. It folds around back to the original bettor who makes the fold. Now we're down to only the middle position player to my right. He's got $15 invested. It's 45 more to call, and he does make the call. We're headed heads up to the flop. 142 already in this pot. Jacks is a difficult hand to navigate. I almost wish I didn't have it. I do have position, and I do have the advantage of being the 3-bet aggressor pre-flop. The flop comes out 8, 10, 4. A beautiful run out for the jacks. My opponent checks to me. There's no way that I'm not going to continue betting here. An ace, a king, a queen on the turn would be devastating. I grab some chips. I size up. How much do I want to go? I'm thinking about a half-size pot bet. Keep the pressure on. $60. I'm hoping he has ace 10. I'm hoping he has king 10. He doesn't go to grab chips, though. He decides to grab his cards and throw them into the muck. We're scooping the first pot of the day and sitting with a cool 382 on our stack. Hopefully we can build this up enough to where I don't have to top off at all for the 2-5 game. That would be a dream. The next hand of note, I look down at as pocket queens. I'm on the button, 382 in my stack. The under the gun player has limped. The cutoff decides he's going to bump it up. This time he's going to make it $16. It's a pretty large bet for this table, but there's no way I'm just going to call. I have ultimate position. I have the third best starting hand. I'm going to bump it up again. Let's put another $60 in the pot. This is the same player that I just did this to earlier. I'm trying to do a little deja vu moment, keep it consistent, kind of throw him off his heels, maybe get him a little frustrated because I want all those chips and I would not mind committing them all pre-flop. It folds all the way back around to the original bettor. He makes the call, doesn't think twice. $60 times 2 plus the blinds. We're going to the flop heads up, 127. This is the exact same situation we were in just a moment ago, except for I have pocket queens instead of pocket jacks this time. Let's hope for a beautiful board, a beautiful run out. No, the dealer puts out 10, deuce, king. When my opponent checks to me, I'm going to slow down here. I'm going to check back, go into check call mode. The turn is the ace of clubs. Not a great card for me to see. My opponent goes all in, $61. They double check for the club. I do have the queen of clubs. This is a terrible situation, but he is all in. I am drawing to the nuts. I make the call. The river comes out the 4 of hearts. Doesn't help my hand. And my opponent reveals ace 9 of diamonds. He's taking this one with a pair of aces. Took 121 off the top of my stack. I'm down to 261. Of course, I'm going to be topping back up, topping back off to 300. Let's get to the next hand. The next hand I get is queen 8 of hearts, $300 my stack. The two middle position players limped. I'm going to go ahead and bump this one up, $15. It's right there on the edge. I can make a straight with it. It's suited. I'm going to put in a bet. The button makes the call. It folds around to the middle position player. He decides he wants to come along. He makes the call. The other middle position player who limps decides he's going to make the call as well. We are headed 4 ways to the flop. $64 in the pot. I don't have ultimate position, but if I can get the button out of the way, I will have the best position in this hand. The dealer puts out the flop. Jack, queen, 6, 2 clubs. There's a straight draw. There's the flush draw. I hit my top pair. I have not the best kicker, but when it checks to me, I need to put in some protection. I need to put it in a bet. I need to charge those draws. $30 is what I decide on, bringing the pot to $94. Actions out to the button. He grabs chips, and he decides he wants to come along. $30 into the pot. The other two players fold. Get out of the way. We are headed heads up to the turn. 124 in the pot, and the dealer puts out the 9 of spades. King 10 gets there. A lot of 2 pairs get there. I'm going to go ahead and slow down. I'm going to go ahead and make a check, and my opponent decides he's going to check as well. We are headed to the river, and the dealer drops a deuce right on the table. It's the 2 of hearts. Doesn't improve my hand. I'm going to go ahead and go into check call mode. I check to my opponent. He grabs a bunch of chips and bets out right away, $75. What would he bet here? $75 on the river that he would not bet on the turn, especially in position, closing the action on the turn, going to the river. What would he not want to bet there? I don't think the 2 helped him. I don't think he had me beat before the river came out. And so I'm going to make the call. He picks up his hand. He flips him onto the board. I think I see 10-8. I think he has a straight. I think he has me beat, but he doesn't. 10-9 offsuit. I'm scooping the pot. He did throw in a bluff there at the end. I sniffed it out real quick, real easy. Feels good to be dialed in. I feel dialed in, which is perfect because I get called for the 2-5 game. I'm leaving this table with a little bit of profit. about $80 worth of profit. I sit down at my 2-5 game and I decide I'm going to top off just a little bit more. I add those 4 greens, $100. We're sitting at 533. It's about 100 big blinds, which is what I'm used to playing in the 1-3 game. And I look down firsthand at ace king of hearts. I'm in the big blind. There's been some action. The under the gun players bumped it up to 30. The middle position player and the cutoff make the call. That's $97 in the pot. And I decide I'm going to go for a 3-bet. I'm going to go for a large 3-bet. I really don't want to be playing ace king out of position. And so I go 155, hoping to take the pot down right now. But no, the original better, the under the gun player makes the call. We're headed heads up to the flop. 377 in the pot. The dealer drops 7, queen, 9. Not the flop I want to see. I have read an entire book on only ace king. It's called Optimizing Ace King by Split Suit. And I'll tell you what, I listened to the whole book twice. It's a great book, but I still don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with ace king. And so I do what I know how to do best. I apply aggression, $200 straight off the top of my stack. This is a big bet. I'm hoping he goes away, but he doesn't. He grabs 500 in greens, puts him in the middle of the pot, goes all in. I have to call. I'm pot committed at this point. I have 2 overs. I might be good. The turn is the 3 of spades. No help to me. And the river, it's the 8 of hearts. I'm all in with ace high, but my opponent says those beautiful words. I missed and flipped over ace 10 of diamonds. He missed his flush draw, and I'm scooping the pot. Ace high is good. Ace king is good. I've just added an incredible amount of chips to my stack, doubled up from 533. I'm all the way up to 1094 now. What a great hand. All right, guys and gals, I need your help. This video took about 6.5 hours to make. It only takes 1 second, less than a second, to give a thumbs up. It really helps promote my channel. It really helps push it to new viewers. Thank you so much for helping me out with that. Let's get back to the action. The next hand I pick up is king, queen offsuit. I have 1094 in my stack. A little moment of honesty. I'm starting to really hate king, queen, king, jack, queen, jack, ace, jack offsuit. I'm starting to hate them. This time I bump it up. I make it $20, but I really feel like these hands, you lose a lot more money. It's called negative implied odds or reverse implied odds. I really feel like these hands are hard to navigate, hard to play. If they are suited, it makes them, I don't think twice as good. I don't think 3 times as good, like 10 times as good. I get one caller. The small blind decides to come along. He throws in his 15. We're headed heads up to the flop. $42 in the pot. And the dealer puts out 3, jack, 8. The big blind decides to check to me. I'm going to check back. No reason to put in a bet. The turn is the 10 of spades. I've picked up some very nice draws. I have an open-ended. I have a flush draw to a very strong flush. My opponent bets $25. I could go in here for a raise. I don't think I want to. I think if I was to raise this pot, I'd be faced with possibly a difficult decision. I could take it down right now. I don't get that sense. And so I'm just going to keep the pot controlled, make the call. The dealer puts out the river. It's the queen of diamonds. Not the card I want to see, but it gives me top pair on the board. I'm willing to call down a reasonable size bet, and my opponent has a reasonable size bet in store. He thinks about it, grabs some greens. He throws in 2 chips, $50 to call. I have to take a second. I have to think about it. I'm really hoping that he's going for some very thin value. This is a 2-5 table with some smart players. He could be value owning himself, but there are a lot of combinations of hands that I lose to. Still, there's no way to get away from this. Top pair, blocking straights, blocking flushes. I throw in the call, and I get the bad news. Ace 6 of spades. My opponent has turned the nuts, and he's going to be scooping this pot. Luckily, it did not get very big. $9.99 in my stack. I live next to the ocean. The ocean ebbs and flows. The waves come in and they go out, and that's how chip stacks are in a poker game, especially at a 2-5 game. I'm very used to this in the 1-3 game. In the 2-5 game, I have to get used to the bigger swings. The next hand I look down at is the beautiful pocket aces. It's like coming down and seeing a bunch of presents on Christmas. Pocket aces, it never gets old. It always feels great. It's like, you know, it's like a high. It's like a rush. It's the feeling of total bliss. As long as they don't get cracked, let's see what happens. $20 going into the pot. I open the action for $20, keeping my bet the standard. I don't want to give away any tells. I don't want to give away the strength of my hand at all. The cutoff makes the call. The button makes the call. It folds around to the big blind, who decides he's going to come along as well. 4 ways to the flop. $84 in the pot. Let's hope for a nice, beautiful, clean run out. Let's hope for a big pot, and let's hope for a scoop at the end of the hand. The dealer puts out the flop. 7, 3, 8, 2 spades. I'm not holding the ace of spades, but it is all right. I'm still holding pocket aces. It checks to me, and I'm going to put out a bet. $84 in the pot. I think just a standard 2/3 size pot bet, $50 is going to be good. The cutoff makes the call. The button makes the call. The big blind makes the fold. We are headed 3 ways to the turn. 234 in my stack, and the dealer puts out it's the ace of spades. It's bittersweet. I pick up my trips, but there's 3 spades on the board. There could be snakes in the grass. I did have just 2 casual callers behind me. So I'm going to slow down here. I do have an enormous amount of showdown value. I put it in the check. I'm going to see what my opponents do. If any of them had a flush, I can guarantee you they would be betting here, but they don't. They check. The river is the king of clubs. My dreams of boating up and stacking off the nut flush are gone. I'm almost positive that if either of the villains hit their flush on the turn, they would have bet out. They would have wanted to put some money in the pot, and they didn't. So I'm going to go for some very thin value here, a half-size pot bet. I'm targeting sets. I'm targeting 2 pairs. I'm targeting maybe a big ace, although it's not likely. But my opponents fold right away. I'm scooping the pot. I'm relieved to do so. I'm glad my aces didn't crack. I'm proud of myself for going for thin value on the river. I would have definitely been able to fold to a check raise, but it didn't come. and I'm scooping a beautiful pot. Right as the high from the pocket aces is burning off, I get dealt my next hand, the very next hand, before I can even stack my chips. Pocket kings, this is fantastic, although to be fair, the pocket kings, they don't look so great after getting dealt pocket aces. I still put in a bet. I open the action, $20. The hijack makes the call. Everyone else folds. We are going heads up to the flop, $47 in the pot. And boom, 10 king 7. I hit top set. There's flush. There's straight draws. I'm going to be putting in a bet. I want to charge my opponent. A big mistake that a lot of players make is they check when they have the nuts, and then when their opponents catch up, they start putting all their money in the pot. I want to pile my money in the pot while I have the best hand. I throw out a $50 bet. It's up to my opponent. Does he want to come along? Does he want to tango? He does. What does this mean? What does he have? We could be getting stacks in here. The turn is the 6 of spades. I'm going to continue betting. I'm going to continue putting pressure. I want to go with another about pot size bet, 147 in the pot, and I'm going to bet 125. 125 has been working for me this evening. Remember, this opponent is willing to gamble. He put me all in with his ace 10 of diamonds, the nut flush draw on the flop. Is he willing to do it this time? Is he going to gamble? No. He kicks his cards away. I'm scooping the pot. I'm not upset at all. 2 small pots with aces and kings, but they both got through. I hit sets on both of them. What an exciting, what a thrilling 2 hands back to back. I can't even imagine where the session is going to go from here. Are you ready for your first PokerBeast meetup? Because I am. June 24th, we're going to have it at Jamul Casino. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's pack the room. Let's get some great action. There's going to be fantastic prizes, fantastic drawings, a lot of money going around. Let's have some fun. The next hand I get is ace queen of diamonds. I'm in the small blind, 1204 in my stack. It folds around to the cutoff, who bumps it up to $20. I'm definitely going to put in the 3 bet. I have a beautiful premium hand. The cutoff could have widened his range to push around the blinds. Let's make it $80. The big blind gets out of the way. It's back to the cutoff. He has a decision to make. Does he call? Does he fold? No, he's going to be coming along. $80 in the pot from both of us. We're headed to the flop. The flop is down. 395 on the flop. No good for me. I've been doing a lot of studying recently, and apparently this should be a check. It should be a check with my entire range, as I understand it. But I'm not going to check. I'm going to bet 125. I have not absorbed this information enough to where I'm going to act on it. I'm going to continue applying pressure, which I know how to do best. My opponent has something else in mind. He fumbles around with his chips. He's only got about 700 behind. He grabs his greens and slides in 325. He puts a raise on me. Right away, I don't believe this raise. And the more I think about it, the more it doesn't make any sense. He would have raised pre-flop with aces, with kings, most likely with queens. I want you guys to pay very close attention to this hand, because what would he raise me here with? He doesn't have 2 pair. He doesn't have 3-9. He doesn't have 5-9. He doesn't have 3-5. He could have a flush draw. He could have a set, but most likely he would have folded away 3s or 5s, leaving just pocket 9s. So we'll give him a few sets. That's only about 15 combinations of hands. If he has pocket jacks, he's not going to put it in a raise. He's probably just going to call. What does he have here? I'm putting him on either air or a flush draw, and I don't think he has an ace-king of spades because he would have raised me pre-flop. Ace-queen of spades possibly. We're chopping. But I'm sniffing something out here, and I want you guys to put your input in. I could see him having jacks here, but would he raise me with jacks? I don't think so. He would probably just purely call. It really leaves not many hands that he would put in a raise here with, except for a flush draw. If he has a flush draw, he doesn't have ace-king because he would have raised me pre-flop. I think I have the best hand. I think that I could push him all in and he would fold. But I don't think I can pull the trigger. I don't think I can pull the trigger. I've been here once previously today, but I go through it in my head again. I'm telling you, you can see this is taking me a long time because I've sniffed it out. I have thought about it thoroughly. He doesn't have aces. He doesn't have kings. He doesn't have queens. He doesn't have jacks. He doesn't have 2 pair of any sort. He doesn't have a set, unless it's maybe a set of 9s, maybe a set of 3s or 5s have squeaked by, but most likely he's raising me with a flush draw. The question is, do I want to gamble on a flush draw? Do I want to put all my chips in the pot, knowing that he could get there? I don't think I do. And at the very worst, I'm thinking to myself, Kate, are you really going to put all your chips in again with ace high? This hand, I have to say, I really thought about it for a long time. I really did all the work, all the effort. I thought about it, and then I realized, even if I'm good, I have to fold. And I threw the hand away, and he flips up ace-queen offsuit immediately. Granted, he did have 2 flush draws pre-flop, but mine was suited. I had the best hand. And I have to admit, that hand put me on a little bit of tilt. I could have made a fantastic all-in. I was dialed in. I saw it. I just couldn't pull the trigger. The next hand I get is 9-7 of clubs, 994 in my stack. I'm in the middle position. I'm going to bump it up $20. The under-the-gun player had made the call, And it folds all the way back around to the undergun player, who makes the call. The middle position makes the call. We're headed 3 ways to the flop, $67 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 685. I always have to do a double take when I flop straights, but yes, I look back and I have flopped a straight. I have flopped the top, the nut straight. This is a beautiful position to be in. It checks to me. I lead out for $35. The player under the gun tosses his hand away. It's up to the player in middle position. Does he want to come along? I'm hoping he has a little bit of the board. He doesn't just want to come along. He wants to put in a raise. He bumps it up 135. This is a dream scenario. There are 2 diamonds on the board. He could have the same hand. He could have a lower straight. He could have a set. He could have a flush draw. I was really conflicted. I have position. I have the nuts on the flop. My hand can improve, but there are hands that can come out and beat it. Should I put in a raise here, or should I just make a call and see what develops on the turn, giving him first action? I decide I'm just going to make the call. The dealer puts out the turn. The 9 of diamonds, literally the worst card in the deck. I've never been tilted just by a card, but this took me from like a 2 out of 10 to like a 6 out of 10. I was not happy at all. We both decided to check. The river comes out. It's the ace of spades. And I'm willing to just check it through. What started off as a beautiful hand turned into a miserable hand. I now have a 1 card to the straight. There's diamonds out there, and my opponent bets $350. That's a massive size bet. There's only 237 in the pot. It's an over bet. With a clear mind and the bet size, I should easily be able to think this through. What would he raise me on the flop with? Check through on the turn and then bet big on the river. There's only one hand that makes sense, a flush. It's obvious. He could be bluffing me, but would he really bluff me with a $350 over bet? I don't think so. $150, $200 would do the trick. It's very clear to me now that he's going for value. This is probably the biggest leak in my game just because you burn off so much money on the river, these big bets. And it's one of those things where if I don't want to re-raise him, if I don't just want to go all in, I should probably just fold. Sure, my hand was beautiful on the flop. It's not so beautiful on the river. I need to factor that in, but I'm still living by the feeling that I had on the flop. I had this great hand. It's been destroyed. And I'm going to make a call. It turns out to be a terrible call. He flips over 10-6 of diamonds. He flopped a flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and a pair. I can't blame him for not wanting to get away. And he hit it on the turn. I'm losing a lot of money that hand. It's a painful hand. But I think I learned my lesson. I have an unfortunate 487 in my stack. That last hand was a massive hit to my chip stack. I looked down at ace jack offsuit. I'm on the button. I put in a straddle out of frustration. The middle position player is going to act first with $35. He opens the action. The hijack makes the call. The cutoff makes the call. The action's on to me. I could put in a 3-bet here. I don't want to get destroyed by ace king, ace queen. I'm kind of on my heels. I'm playing a little scared. I just decided to make the call. We're headed 4 ways to the flop. 147 in the pot. The dealer puts out 10-5 queen. I have a gut shot straight draw. I have 1 over. It checks through to the turn, which is the 4 of diamonds. It checks through again to the river, which is the 10 of hearts. And that's when it checks to the cutoff, who puts in a $125 bet. At this point, I'm not thinking straight. At this point, I'm trying to make a hero call. At this point, I'm trying to get my money back. I have ace high. I talked myself into saying this same guy that I didn't believe one hand before. Now I don't believe him again. I make the call. It was a terrible call. He had jack 10 of diamonds. It makes sense. He tripped up on the river. And I'm just burning through my stack at this point. I am down to 325 in my stack. The very next hand, I get queen 4 suited, queen 4 of spades. I'm in the cutoff. The middle position player limps. The hijack bumps up to 15. I make the call. The small blind comes along. He makes the call. The big blind makes the call. The middle position player makes the call. We're headed 6 ways to the flop. $75 in the pot. And the dealer puts out 3, 9, 5, 2 spades. I have a backdoor straight draw. And the small blind decides she's going to lead out. $60 is the bet. The middle position player thinks about it, and he comes along, $60 as well, $195 in the pot. And in my frustration with my hand, all things considered, I decided to rip it all in. $310 left in my stack. I go all in, bringing the pot to 505. The small blind thinks about it, asks for a count, and makes the call. $250 for her to call, and she does. It gets back to the middle position player who thinks about it as well. Doesn't want to come over the top, but does want to make the call. 1005 in my stack. Could this be an opportunity for me to get most of my money back? Could this be an opportunity for me to rid myself of all those past demons from those past hands? Is this an opportunity with queen 4 suited to get a little bit of luck coming my way? Let's see what happens. 1005 in the pot. The dealer puts out the turn. It's the 2 of diamonds. Absolutely not a spade, but out of all the cards I could see, this is one of the better ones. I now am one away from a straight. I've got an open-ended straight draw. I've got a flush draw. The river comes out. It's going to make or break my night. Is it a spade? Is it an ace? Is it a 6? Is it a queen even? No, it is the 9 of diamonds. I do not get there. I do not make what I need to make. I have queen high, and that's when the small blind puts in a bet of $350. I think I know what that means. I think that means she has a 9. I think that means I'm going home for the night. I've burnt through my entire stack, and I'm doing the cold hard dash to the parking garage. I'm getting the hell out of here. In for $450, out for $0 for a loss of $450. I absolutely hate losing. I'm going to come back with a vengeance. Thanks for watching. Kato out.